Hey, this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make our holiday weave stocking. This is a quick and fun project. The stocking is worked up in the moss stitch, and I'm also using bulky weight yarn. So it's a really quick project. It's simple, fun, and it comes out so nice. Now I have some cardboard that I traced to put inside the stocking, and that just blocks it out so you get this perfect shape. So you can make your stockings in various colors. I've shown one in green. I also have one that's striped, and I give you some tips in this video on how to change your colors to do the stripe pattern, which matches our holiday weave throw blanket. And I also have it shown here in red as well. The yarn that I'm using is Wool of the Andes bulky weight yarn. The yardage in grams are 130 yards per 100 grams. This is 100% Peruvian wool and a number 5 weight. It is hand wash and dry flat. So if you prefer to use something else that's washable, then you can swap this out absolutely no problem. You'll need 2 crochet hooks for this pattern. So we'll be using a 6.5 millimeter as well as an 8 millimeter crochet hook. So we'll begin with a magic ring and our smaller hook. Chain 2 and 11 half double crochet in the ring. Now take your work, just push it out of the way. We're going to pull the ring tight. So take your tail. You'll see only one of these loops is pulled in. So just grab that loop, give it a tug. It's going to pull the other loop tight. And we can do a reverse slip stitch to join. So what we're going to do is keep this working yarn to the front. We're going to go through the stitch from back to front, pulling the yarn through with just a yarn under, pulling through, chain 1. Now we'll work 2 single crochet in every stitch around. So now you should have 22 stitches. We're going to do a reverse slip stitch to join. So go back to front, grab that yarn, pull it through, twist your hook around, pulling it through for your join, chain 1, and now we'll work 1 single crochet into every stitch around. Reverse slip stitch to join, chain 1, and then we're going to do another increase round. So we'll work 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochet in the next, 1 single crochet in the next, and then 2 in the next. Repeat this all the way around. We'll reverse slip stitch to join. So go back to front, pull the yarn through, chain 1, and this round we'll just work 1 in every stitch for a total of 33. Reverse slip stitch to join, chain 1, and we'll do another increase. So we're going to work 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches and then 2 in the next. 1 in each of the next 2, and then 2 in the next. Repeating this pattern all the way around so that you have a total of 44 stitches. Reverse slip stitch to join, chain 1, and this round we'll work 1 in every stitch around for a total of 44. So I've reverse slip stitched to join, chained 1, and I'm going to change over to the 8mm hook. We're going to start into the moss stitch, and we do need to use a larger hook because it will pull the stitch tighter. So this is the completion of the toe section. So we're going to single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and we're going to do that all the way around. So I'm coming up to the end. You should be ending with 1 stitch. We're going to chain 1, and I'm going to reverse slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain 1, and now I want to work over into this next space, so I'm going to chain 1 again. So the second chain 1 will count as our single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet in the chain 1 space. So chain 1, we'll skip over the single crochet, working a single crochet in the chain 1 space. So chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 in each chain 1 space around. And now this time I've chained 1, we're skipping over the last single and then a single crochet in the last chain 1 space. And we started with a chain 1, so we end this time with a single crochet. I'm going to reverse slip stitch to join into that starting chain space to join, chain 1, and then this time we start out with the single crochet, chain 1 in each chain 1 space around. So we're just alternating between starting with a chain stitch and starting with a single crochet stitch. So now this time I'm going to end with that chain 1, reverse slip stitch to join, chain 1, and then I need to chain again. So we're starting really with a chain 2 because we're skipping over the first single crochet, and we're just repeating these rows. So row 2 and row 3 now, we're just going to repeat them for our foot section. So single crochet, chain 1 in every chain 1 space around. So I'm going to complete working 18 rounds, which is how many rounds that we'll want to work before we begin the heel. Now, if you want to alter this in any way, just work as many rounds as you would like. So if you would like the foot longer or the foot shorter, you can alter it at this point. Okay, so once you've worked 18 rounds, what we're going to do is fasten off . So we want to do the heel next, and the reason that I want to fasten off is because I want that the seam is going to be on the side of the stocking like this. So what we need to do, so we're going to have 20 stitches across for the heel. So I want the join to be in the center. So I'm going to count to the right 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be in this space. So we'll put a slip knot on the hook. Okay, join that, chain 1, and then we'll work across single crochets in each space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10, and now we need an additional 10 on this side. So I'm going to crochet over this tail as I go. So 11. Okay, so that's 20. Now what we're going to do is work back and forth in rows. So I'm going to chain 1 and turn until we have a total of 10 rows. So the first row counts as our first. This will be our second row. So we're just working single crochets back and forth in rows for that total of 20 stitches. Chain 1 and turn. So I'm just going to keep working in rows until I have 10, and then I'm going to meet you back up again. So once you have your 10 rows, we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch it together. So what you want to do is take your right sides, place them together, and we're going to slip stitch through your stitch on this side, coming over to your other side. So once that's slip stitched, you just want to fasten this off. We'll need to weave in that tail. For now, let's just tuck all of this inside. So this is how the foot is looking at this point. Now what we want to do is work around the opening, and I want to join again back at the center because I want all of our joins to go along the edge so you're not noticing them, and the stocking is going to look good on either side. So it doesn't matter the way you hang it, you're not going to see any seams. So we're going to join back, put a slip knot on our hook, and I'm going to join in with a slip stitch, chain 1, going to work a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. So we're basically skipping a row, single crocheting in the next row, chain 1, chain 1. Now I want you to work around, including your chain 1s, 46 stitches. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Chain 1 is 10. And then we get right into these chain 1 spaces along the foot. So just count as you go. You may have to make an adjustment if your stitch count is off. So it'll be 24 across this section and then about 22 across all of the heel section and the corners. So I'm at 45 here. I'm going to chain 1 and that will be 46. I'll do a reverse slip stitch join. And I'm going to start with a chain 2 because now I'll be skipping over that first single crochet, working single crochet chain 1 in each chain 1 space around. And I came out right on track the first time with the 46 stitches, but if you are struggling, just pull it out to make sure that you get 46 going around, but it should naturally work out for you. Okay, so this time I've ended with a single crochet. We'll reverse slip stitch join. The first chain to join, chain 1. Now this row we're back to starting with the single crochet, chain 1. Single crochet, chain 1 in each chain 1 space around. So now we're working on the leg section of the stocking. And we're going to keep working in rounds until we have 30. So you're going to count from the heel, which is the easiest here. So counting from the heel, we've got 1, 2, we've started the third, and you're going to work a total of 30. So we're just alternating rounds, starting with a single crochet, chain 1, and starting with the chain 2. So just like we already worked when we were working the foot section. So I'm going to continue working this portion of the stocking off camera, and then we'll meet back up for the next step. So I wanted to show you the striped stocking that I worked on, following the exact same pattern. I have followed the same color pattern as we worked up in the throw blanket so that the stocking would coordinate. So what I did with this, with the color changing, is I started out with my 1 row of white. If we look at the color chart, here's the white, then I have 2 rows of color A, we go back to the main color, 2 rows of color B, as you can see here. So we do 1 and then 2, 1, 2, and keep going. So we get to our 18 rows, which ends with our 2 colors of color A. And then I've worked the heel also in the main color, which is the white. And then we work around the heel following the same pattern. We go in the white and then we jump right back into the color pattern, repeating A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, etc. So I wanted to give you a quick demonstration on how I am changing the color. And it keeps the join not too noticeable. So as you recall, we were working reverse slip stitch joins, but when I change the color, I like to go through and work a regular slip stitch. It just makes it a little bit nicer when we're changing the color. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to slip stitch with my main color. Then I'm going to pull in color A and tighten that up. Then I'm going to chain 1 and work a single crochet in that first space. Make sure you give all those tails a tug, and then I'm going to work around in my color A. So now when we get all the way around, we will reverse slip stitch to join when we're not changing color. So I'm going to reverse slip stitch, and it does keep the join a little less noticeable. I'm going to chain 2 for this row, and I'm going to work 1 more row in the color. So this is how you'll do all of the color changes. Throughout. So I'm going to work now around another round in color A. And I'm going to slip stitch to join, but I'll do a regular slip stitch because I'm changing color this time. So pull that through, and then I'm going to pull back with the main color. I'm going to chain 1, so I don't need to do any more color changes. I'm going to finish this one off with the cuff. But as you can see, the join blends really nicely with the pattern. You finish your 30 rounds, you're going to want to finish off with working a single crochet into every stitch, and you can change over to your smaller hook at that point. And you're going to single crochet in the chain 1 space, single crochet in the chain 1. So you're just going to work that all the way around so that you have a total of 46 stitches. Then what we're going to do is work a join as you go cuff to the top. So you can always alter how this looks. I'm going to show you on my finished stocking. How much fold over roughly you're going to have. Now I've folded it more than what this actually is. So if you look at it here, this is 20 stitches. So you could change this up if you want. I do like doing the fold over because it does give us that extra space for stuffing the stocking. If you need a little bit more, you can always unfold it to fit more items in. And then it looks nice folded over. Now I've just cut and trace some cardboard just to block out the stocking and to keep its shape. And that's just an easy little tip to block out the stocking. All you do is lay it out on a piece of cardboard and just trace the shape of the stocking, and then you can slip the cardboard inside just so the stocking looks nice and perfect and keeps its shape. It's a good way to store it as well when you're putting it away at the end of the year. So I'm going with that 20 stitch count. So I'm going to chain out a total of 21, and I'm using my smaller hook, the 6.5 millimeter for this. So I've chained 21. Now we'll single crochet in the second chain from the hook and single crochet in each chain. So now we're going to skip this first stitch right here, and we're going to slip stitch into the next 2. So this row counts for this stitch. Now we'll slip stitch 2, and we'll work 2 more rows for those 2 slip stitches. So you turn your work, you skip over the 2 slip stitches you just made, and then we're going to work a single crochet through the back loops only across the row. So you're going to have 20 stitches. So you're basically working back and forth in rows, but we're slip stitching around that base, that top of the stocking, to join it. So we have 46 stitches, so we'll have 46 rows worked. And you want to double check, make sure that you're not doing too many rows or too few rows, or it's not going to look right. It's a good idea to count your stitches as you go. So this is 20, chain 1 and turn, and then we'll work back down the row. Single crochets through the back loop for the entire band. Okay, so I finished working my cuff, and what we're going to do now is slip stitch it together. So I'm going to chain 1. And I'm going to work through the back loop of the stitch. So go through the back loop. We're going to come over to that starting chain and go through the first chain and slip stitch. And we'll do this through each stitch. So go through the back loop and slip stitch together. Okay, so once you've worked all the way down, we're going to fasten this off. You can weave in your tail. So to block your stocking, I suggest just tracing out your stocking on a piece of cardboard, cut that out, and then you can put it inside your stocking. It's going to block it. And also for hanging, you just want to put your stocking onto your template. This is going to stretch it out nice, and also even after you have it on the cardboard for a while, if you take it off, it helps the stocking to keep its shape. I like to try to put the seam along the edge so you don't see it. Okay, so now from our second ball, we still have this much yarn left, so we can make some tassels. You have enough left that you could make a couple tassels, but I'm just going to add one. Sometimes going from the outside, it might be a little bit smoother. You can also steam your tassels if you need to. So I'm going to section off 30 pieces at about 15 inches. So I just go back and forth now once I've measured out, and I usually break it up into sections. So I'm going to do 15 and then I'll do another 15. Okay, so I have 30 pieces, and I cut off an additional 2 pieces at about 25 inches. So now we're just going to take one of them, and you're going to tie at the center. have a couple wooden beads. This one is a 20 millimeter size. And this one looks like it's about 25 millimeters. If you need to know the exact sizing, but you can use whatever size beads you want. So I'm going to take my yarn needle for bulky yarn. I'm going to get the yarn through it here. I'm going to take the larger bead, add it to the base, and my next bead. Okay, and then we'll use these tails to tie. Go once around, go twice, and this just holds it as you tie it down. So then you're just going to adjust whatever size tassel ball you want here. Make sure to tie it nice and tight. Give it a knot, and then you can take these tails, you can wrap and I just like to take my yarn needle and I'm going to tuck the yarn down to secure it. Then you can take your tails and trim your tassel tails. And depending on the yarn, if you're finding that the yarn is not laying straight like this, you can always steam it and it will make your tassel nice and finished. Like this one's a little crinkly in here, and steaming would just fix any of that. Now for attaching your tassel, what I like to do is find the seam, because we're going to have the seam to the edge, so that makes it so it doesn't matter which way you hang the stocking, it's going to look good both ways. I'm just going to take my yarn needle and we're just going to tie it right here to the seam section. So here is my red stocking, and I've also added a little I-cord to the top for hanging. So I have the tassel at the bottom and I'm going across the seam area, because you're going to make sure that you hang it at the seam and it's going to look good both ways. So this one is after it's been blocked, so you can see that it really helps flatten everything out. The heel, everything lays nice once you've blocked it in your cardboard. So I'm going to let this one block, and then once it's finished blocking, then I'm going to add the little I-cord to this as well. So I finished blocking the stocking, and as you can see, it really makes it get its nice shape. I really suggest that you do block it, or it's just not going to look as good as it could. So now what we want to do is add our little I-cord here to the top for hanging, but you could also use, if you have any tags, you can also use these for hanging your stockings as well. Just really quick, you just put this right here, and for my tags I have this leather rivet set. So you're just going to take probably one of the bigger ones. Let me just show you here. Oops. I guess I had this flipped the wrong way. So you would just attach this up near the top. You want to make sure you have enough there for hanging. You just pop this through, right through to the other side. And then there is a little snap piece that goes here, and then you just hammer it. And that's a nice, easy way to add. I mean, there's lots of options for hanging your stocking. You could even use a little bit of twine if you want to give it a rustic look. But if you just want to use the yarn, I'm going to show you how to make a really simple little I-cord. So you want to use your smaller hook. You could even go smaller if you want it nice and tight, but this is my 6.5 millimeter. And I'm going to measure off a tail about 25 inches, and that will just make sure that I have enough. Okay, so roughly 25 inches. You're going to take your hook, pushing it through, and then pull through the yarn. Okay, so now we're in position. What we're going to do, separate here. This is the working yarn. This is my tail. So I'm going to take my tail, I'm going to wrap it around my hook nice and tight, and then I'm going to yarn over with the working yarn, pulling it through. So there's one, yarn over with the tail, yarn over and pull through. There's two. And I'm going to do about 15. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you can just quickly make a nice I-cord. Okay, so I have 15. Just do as many as you think you need. Then I'm going to come over and we're just going to pull through. Okay, and I'm going to fasten off. So now what you can do is take your yarn needle, we're going to push this through, then we can knot our tails, the back, and you can weave these tails in. Make sure you go one way back in the opposite direction so they're nice and secure. So I'm going to finish that off camera, but you can see it adds a nice easy tag for hanging. So here is the finished stocking. To personalize it, there's lots of different options. You could just put a letter of your child or person's name that you're making the stocking for. You could put their whole name. You could do some surface crochet if you wanted to add. You could even add something down here onto the body of the stocking. It's really up to you how you want to personalize it. I had some little wooden name tags made last year for all of our family. So I have that I can hang from my stockings. But there are lots of different little options you can do to personalize your stocking. So get creative, add your own personalized touch to your stocking. So here is the beautiful white, the red, and I made a nice dark green as well. This is the Lumberjack color, I believe. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to tap the bell so you stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Thanks so much, guys, and have an amazing holiday season.